Hello everybody. Okay, so today I'm in my warehouse and wind's blowing outside and stuff. Anyway, so you've probably heard about Proposition 2 in Utah, and that's just one of many, and there's a lot of lies being told, have been told for decades about the hemp plant. The fact is, George Washington grew hemp. All of the founding fathers grew hemp. The Declaration of Independence was written on hemp. It was pretty well expected that you would grow hemp if you were going to come to the United States. It was used for everything: make ropes, make paper, and of course it even has a lot of medicinal value. Now, of course, over time, the battle between good and evil, between God and Satan, has become more polarizing, and so you have a plant that God created, and he created it for mankind, and he said that he did right in the Bible, so anybody said he didn't is just a damn liar. And of course, it's one of the most complex plants known to man, and it has a lot of medical qualities that, I mean, they're finding new stuff all the time, every day. So I mean, it's actually a miracle plant. But the main thing is, of course, that of course God created the earth and everything on it. It says so right there in the Bible, and that includes man. Now, when he created man, one of the unique things that he did was create receptors for CBD. CBD receptors in the human body. Every human body has them, and they only have one purpose. They don't have any other purpose than to seek, find CBD, and to help, as a consequence of that, to help the brain and other parts of the body. So not only did God create the plant and man, but he damn well expected man to use the plant. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put CBD receptors in the human body. So if anybody says that man is not supposed to use CBD oil, then either they hate God, or they're just stupid, or they have a satanic agenda like Democrats that just, want Big Pharma to make a lot of money, and they hate children, and they'll do anything to make a lot of money. And the big thing about Big Pharma is that they can't patent a plant. And God made the plant a weed. It'll grow anywhere. It'll grow in almost any climate. And he wanted to make sure it didn't die. So it's plentiful all over the world, and so it's readily available. And when man gets a hair up his ass and gets to hating God so much that he wants to make the things that God created illegal, then you have to first say and realize and recognize that man does not have the authority to make any of God's creation illegal. So if you have a cop or a lawyer or a judge or some insignificant prick like that wants to stand up against God and say, I hate you, God, and I'm going to make your stuff illegal. I don't even want your stuff on the earth. Well, the fact is, everything on the earth God made, and so, a person who does stuff like that is just stupid. and a detriment to society, and a criminal in God's world. So man does not have the authority to make a plant created by God illegal. And of course, no man would be stupid enough to even attempt to if it wasn't for money. Now, for instance, a rattlesnake, God created a rattlesnake, and a rattlesnake can be used for good or bad also. And if you don't handle a rattlesnake correctly, you could be killed, in fact. Of course, no one on the face of the earth since Adam and Eve has ever died of marijuana, not even one person, not even one in over 7,000 years. So, you know, that's something you can't say for alcohol. Of course, they love alcohol because it's a satanic thing. But of course, marijuana, there's not been a single death on in the history of the entire earth. Not a single one. So God intended people to use hemp, and it's obvious that he did. Anybody says that he didn't is just simply a damn liar. So anyhow, so man does not have the authority to make it illegal in the first place. Now, of course, a lot of our legislators are criminals, and we know that. The head of the FBI is a criminal. We know that the head of the Department of Justice is a criminal. We know that Hillary Clinton is a criminal. We know that George Soros is a criminal. We know that all Democrats are disciples of Satan, and there's so much evidence to that. I mean, a person who doesn't recognize that must just live under a rock. So anyhow, so you got these criminals that have dedicated their lives to Satan, and they've got an agenda. And, you know, a lot of them have shares in big pharma. They want to make money. It's all about money. And and a lot of them get paid off. I mean, how do you think the Democrats keep these criminals in line? Well, if you got a video of a senator, you know, having sex with a 9-year-old, he'll do practically what you tell him, because he doesn't want that video to get out. When you got the Clinton Foundation, you know, financing this pedophilia, you know, Pizzagate, and so you know, those guys are in line, and they're all being blackmailed, and so they're afraid. The Republicans even are afraid to follow Trump because they don't want their wife to know they've been traveling around the world having sex with 9-year-olds. So, you know, it's pretty hard to find a honest politician. But one thing we do know for 100% certainty is that man does not have the authority to make God's plant illegal. So just like when man makes a law that's against the Constitution in the United States, it's an illegal law. Now, the government can say, well, that's the law, and if you don't obey the law, I will kill you or put you in jail forever. You know, and they're just pricks. You know, and you know, if a law is illegal, it's illegal, and a law that's illegal, you're under no obligation to follow that law. So, you know, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and anything that goes against the Constitution is an illegal law. And so you have these Satanists, and that's what they are. They're Satanists. We need to not say they have an opposing point of view. That's like saying Lucifer had an opposing view to Jesus. And it's quite a bit more important than just a different opinion. And so now, so we now know with 100% certainty that man doesn't have the authority to make a plant illegal. And so, but let's think about why would the plant not be illegal? I mean, why did God create it? Well, we know that studies have shown that CBD oil can stop cancer. We know that it's almost instantly helpful to a person, an epileptic, and they may have hundreds of seizures a month, and then after taking CBD oil, they may only have one a year, maybe never again, or whatever. And I mean, it's the evidence is overwhelming. And so when you got these antichrist, devil-worshipping bastards in Utah that say that medical marijuana is already available to mankind, well, then you have to realize what lying, worthless pieces of shit these people actually are. First of all, that's a lie. It's not. But secondly, when they say it's available, that's like saying guns are available. Well, yeah, if you jump through 18,000 hoops, God wanted it to be free. He wanted it to grow in your backyard. He wanted it to be plentiful. He made it a weed. He wants it to grow everywhere. He wants to make sure you got plants on your lawn. So when these devil worshippers, they say, you can get it. Well, what are you going to do? You got to go pay $100 to get a doctor appointment, visit. And, and then you got to waste an hour of your time or maybe more, and then, you got to answer questions that's nobody's business. And to justify why it is that you want to do what God commanded you to do. And you might just stand up and tell the damn doctor, you worthless piece of shit, I'm doing what God commanded, and you're either going to help me or I'll kill you, So, so when they say it's readily available, the fact is it's not. Readily available means that it grows in your backyard, and that it's free of charge, and that there's no regulation whatsoever of any kind at any time ever. Now, we know that politicians don't understand language like that, because the Second Amendment says that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, period. It means you better damn well not ask them what age they are, what sex they are. You better not care if they're a criminal. If you ask them even any question, if you even ask them their name, you're breaking the Constitution. And if you hate the Constitution that bad, then you're guilty of treason, and I would suggest the death penalty for you. And it's just that simple. But see, the thing is, we've become a bunch of pansy asses and queer little panty pink underwear wearers. And, now we've got a bunch of faggot parades and everybody walking around with, the broken wrist syndrome, like that. So what happens is people don't stand up for the rights anymore, I mean, you got cops that, commit hundreds of thousands of felonies every day all across the nation. And there's no, they're not brought to justice. And, does anybody think that Hillary didn't obstruct justice when she deleted 33,000 emails? I mean, come on, man. There isn't a person on the face of the earth that thinks Hillary isn't a criminal. It isn't that anybody doesn't know that she's a criminal. Everybody knows she is. There isn't a single person on the face of the earth that doesn't. It's just that the Democrats don't care, because she represents the same morals and values that all Democrats represent. None. And so, anyway, back to hemp. So, God wanted there to be remedy for maladies and for diseases and different things that would come along, so that mankind would be able to take care of these things and live long and prosper, as they say on Star Trek. And anyhow, when you got people that want to obstruct not only the Constitution, but God's will, and then, if they're your preacher, you got to say, well, now, are you a devil worshiper or are you a God worshiper? Because if they don't want your child with epilepsy to be able to get CBD oil to keep from having seizures, then you could say that they're a Satanist, that they worship Satan. And the reason you can say that with 100% certainty is because that is completely anti-Christ and anti-God to suggest that either God or Jesus wants little children to suffer needlessly. And so any worthless piece of shit that says that that's what God or Jesus thinks, well, they're liars, and they're also not Christians. They can say they are, and they can go to church and take your money when you pass the plate around, but the fact is they worship Satan. And they're doing Satan's will, and they're, taking their bribes from Big Pharma, and, who knows who all they're taking money from, maybe George Soros, who knows. The thing of it is you got a plant that God created, and it's obvious that he wanted it freely distributed because it's a weed. It's not an avocado that requires a certain climate. It's a weed. It'll grow anywhere. And so if God didn't want it to grow everywhere, he would have made it so it wouldn't grow everywhere, and it will grow everywhere. So that means he wanted it that way because he didn't make a mistake. So, when people ask you to vote, and then they put pressure on you like, well, you better not do this because don't you know that marijuana is a gateway drug? Well, of course it isn't. Anybody that's lived through the 60s and 70s knows with 100% certainty that the government hadn't told the truth a single time in all those decades about that. Every single damn thing we were ever told about marijuana was a lie. Now, marijuana has never killed anyone, and, as far as, if you want to talk about a gateway drug, then let's talk alcohol. So, of course, they love alcohol, like I said before, because people get drunk and act stupid and commit crimes and become violent and act in evil ways. And so they love that, but... for somebody to, just sit down and become mellow or go to sleep or something, well, hell, that's got to be criminal, right? So, anyhow, it's all bullshit. It's all just bullshit. And so, you got to ask yourself, of course, what's true. And actually, the truth is, you can ask God directly, actually, if you want to. And actually, the scriptures say that if you ask God directly, that he will answer you directly. And and he will. Not necessarily instantly, but you can know. You can know with 100% certainty. And when people ask you to follow them, that's totally against the Bible right there, because the Bible said not to put your faith in man. Follow no man. Follow Jesus only. And when these guys, come and say, well, I think God made a mistake when he made that marijuana there because it's just too much of a good thing. And, back to what I was going to before, when these worthless pieces of shit tell you that it's a gateway drug and that within 15 or 20 minutes the entire population of Utah will be hooked on heroin, well, that's just pure bullshit. There's not an ounce of truth in it. And for one thing, whether marijuana is legal or illegal doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with whether people will smoke it or ingest it or however they take it. And so the people who use marijuana are going to use marijuana whether it's legal or not, and the people who are not going to use marijuana are not going to use marijuana whether it's legal or not. So whether it's legal or not, it doesn't make any difference. It's just like speeding. If you're going to speed, you're going to speed. So you just have to use some common sense here. And when people tell you what to think, maybe just shove a shovel handle up their ass until it comes out their mouth, and maybe, they'll shut the fuck up. I mean, come on, man. Think for yourself. You're not a robot. You've been trained to be a robot. You go to school and they tell you to don't talk, or unless you raise your hand and only do this and only do that, and you know, you don't think. I'll tell you what to think, and you don't you be thinking anything else. You know, well, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not the way God intended it to be. You're supposed to do your own thinking. So now's the time to do it. And you know, if you're for it, fine. If you're against it, fine. I'm not going to tell you what to believe, other than just don't believe something just because somebody tells you, because the government hasn't told the truth a single time in hundreds of years about marijuana. So I mean, if you do any research on it, you're going to find out all the studies that you know, the government's funded to universities and different things to, you know, prove that marijuana is harmful, and no study has ever found, you know, that to be true. And so the government says, well, then I'm not going to end this damn study. We're not paying you no more if you're not going to, you know, tell us what we want to hear, and you know, like that. So you know, what you got to realize is it's all about good and evil, and it isn't about any other damn thing. It's not about Democrat, Republican. It's about good and evil, and that's it, period. And so the fact of the matter is, God created pot, God created hemp, and God created the human body, and with 100% certainty, you can know that the CBD receptors in the human body are proof that God, for 100% certainty, expected you to use CBD. And if anybody tells any different, then you can know that they are not only a liar, but a devil worshiper. Or they're so incredibly stupid, and you need to set them straight. Because people like that have no business telling anybody anything. So, you know, you just gotta, you know, wake up and smell the coffee, man. You know, I mean, we got so damn many people out there, you know, that are stupid and passing their stupidity on. And you know, you'd think that parents would teach their children not to be stupid, but man, you know, we've got a lot of stupid parents. So anyhow, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, I've got other videos too, and you can subscribe to my channel, like it if you like it, and so anyway.